More importantly, Charlie's back, as Five Left says. Welcome back. Look who's back. Yes, he's back. Yes, he's back. Yes, he's back. Yes, he's back. Nah, 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 nah. They love my singing on here, Charlie.
I love it.
You don't know.
Love it.
Michael says, awesome. Wyatt sweeping those Yankees was unbelievable. We don't get the chance to talk about a lot of baseball on here, to be honest with you. But it's that time of year where it's kind of getting fun.
That's right.
We had a lot of basketball to talk last week as Indiana had 5 consecutive visits of elite players in. Jamie Kaiser, one of those, but he commits to Maryland. So there's that one. But there's the other 2. We'll see what happens with those guys. Been a while since you've been on. How's your summer been, man? Dustin, well, Charlie spends as much time with us as he can. The summer times are hard for him. Tons of traveling as he is in training mode. And did you go to any place fun like Alaska this year? Was that this? You were getting ready to head there the last time we talked. He gets to go all over the place training, doing his training, basketball training and whatnot. So we get to talk about his adventures in addition to sports.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of travel. Anchorage, Alaska was the first camp, first stop. Then I went to a place called Colville, Utah, which is right outside of Park City, Utah, where they had the Olympics. And Denver, Colorado, Sacramento, California. Then there's places I don't forget, but it's like it was over 12 camps.
Yeah.
And, Dustin, it's what I do for a living with a group called Breakthrough Basketball. I travel, and I've been doing this for 9 years. So it was fun. I would say this go around was like India go around was fun, but I was more available mentally. The things I was doing and the impact that was felt all across the board. And Dustin, I made a choice 12 years ago to say, okay, not saying I can't coach in college or high school. I just want to build what I've been building as a player, player development coach. I had a lot of fun as a player developing in the off seasons. And the X's and O's are great. I like the Jim and Joe's.
Right.
Right. I like to grow and develop a man, and I have fun doing it. So yeah. So that was, man, so much to talk about. So where to start. Great times on the road traveling. My oldest son was with me as well. He's 20.
Cool.
Goes to college at
Down
Midway
in
University.
Down in Kentucky.
Exactly. Midway, right? Not too far, like in between Lexington and Louisville. So he was
midway between Lexington and Louisville.
And it's called Midway, right? Exactly.
Nice.
And he was with me all about 5 to 6 plus camps. We're traveling.
That's got to be great for his development.
Oh,
man.
Come on, man! Listen. When you learn to teach, you learn twice as much. And he had a great taste of people not paying attention to him, getting frustrated. All the experiences that you need to become a little more wiser and to get hungrier and keep that humility to continue to grow. And he's ready. He's ready to get ready for his freshman season on the court, sophomore in the class, because they redshirted him last year, which I thought was great. He needed it. So awesome.
Glad to have you back. Looking forward to it as the sports season. I'll be honest with you. Normally the summers are quiet, which that's not a big complaint in and of itself, but you have to really be creative with generating content, right, because the audiences tend to drift off. This summer was not that. It was not hard at all. I don't recall one time searching for content.
That's great.
There was always something going on, which it is great, except for, you kind of look forward to those 2 months where it's not 7 days a week.
Yeah. Well,
it's just 5 days a week. And it didn't really happen this year.
But you got that growth mode going. I mean, with the website.
Yeah.
With this, and you got great people on the show like Dustin and Jim.
Charlie Miller. Miller.
Part of the process, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of things we could talk about.
Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. One of those later on will be the IU's NIL Collective just announced, last week, a new class, the Hoosiers for Good, which we haven't got to talk a lot about that because it's really new, but a new class of 11 athletes, 10 basketball players, total of $425,000 being doled out through that. We'll talk about that. I'm sure you'd like to have had a piece of that action back in the day. Who wouldn't have? But it's kind of funny. I'll tell you what's kind of funny. I still see just the other day, the NCAA or whomever is going after Rick Pitino still. And I'm like, okay, what in the hell is going on? You all really have that little to do that you're chasing old demons now, which I'm not, that's because I'm a fan. It's gotten to the point to where how ridiculous are we going to be? You've got nothing to do where you've got to go back 5 and 6 years to where the very things that are completely and totally legal right now weren't legal, and you're going to chase that stuff down. I'm good luck.
Similar to someone smoking marijuana.
Yes.
And
yes. Very, 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 very similar.
No.
Very, very, very similar.
I mean, that's just the equivalency I give it, because it's like, okay, we're talking Iona Rick Pitino, we're talking Louisville Rick Pitino. Which one? We're talking KU. Which one? UK. Which one? Is it Louisville? When pretty much the kick up of all this stuff started.
I mean, I think that they're just trying to get Pitino out of coaching or whatever. And I'm like, why? He's at a small school now. He's bringing some notoriety to that school. They're having fun. Iona, he's what, 69 years old? Let it go. I'm like, let it go.
The interesting part for me, if you guys have ever read that story, when Rick Pitino was surprised how involved this is, again, it's got to be about 7+ years ago. He was surprised at how involved the shoe brands were in recruiting. Now, that was surprising to me, but he was literally oblivious to how much the shoe brands, now we know the EYBLs, the Under Armour associations, the Adidas, whatever they call it now. I know it was the Gauntlet at one point in time. He was surprised at how involved they were in recruiting. And I was like, man, where were you under a rock? Because, I mean, you've always been with Nike. These kids that go to your school have always been Nike AAU teams. You're always looking for that one. That's the whole point of it. I mean, be blatant. They're looking for the next LeBron. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, let's call it what it is. They should just do it under the scenes, right? It was under the table. Now I don't have to do that. They have their own leagues, right? And the trickle down to the teams that they sponsor, because of the players or two. But it was just quite interesting. I'll try to send that article to John, and John can probably post it or whatever it might be. But it's just interesting that some coaches are oblivious to how much these shoe companies are really involved in this recruiting process, because you're trying to find that next Kyrie, LeBron, James Harden.
I can tell you one who wasn't oblivious, Bill Self.
There you go.
So that's a great point, Ed. They're chasing Rick Pitino. What about Bill Self? He's been I don't even want to get into it.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, here's something fun. I've been waiting for it. And wow, what a way to start. The Little League World Series, baby. It starts tonight on ESPN. And how about a matchup with Indiana and Kentucky to start it off at 7?
Wow.
So I love the Little League World Series, man. It's just one of those cool things. I don't know why. It's just one of those things you really get caught up on. Pete asking did you run across any standouts in your travels?
27, 28, Pete. It might have been.
That's some 8th graders, man. Those are some 8th graders, right?
Yeah, man. 8th grade, you still, man. I almost said something. I caught myself. They have no idea who they are. 8th grade.
I agree, but I will say this, Charlie. It's the guy like Trent Sisley, Jalen Harrelson, a couple of guys from Indiana that they're couple of their top recruits for the 25 class. When I go to watch them play, or you watch them play, they look like they are 4 years older. They look like they're going to be, instead of a sophomore in high school, they look like they're going to be a sophomore in college.
Yeah.
Physically, Jalen Harrelson is a man child. And Sisley is 6'7". He'll continue to grow, but he's not skinny. Hell, he's got more meat on him than a lot of kids I see come to IU sometimes. So they're getting bigger and beefier every day.
Yeah, and gonna get wiser too, because now you have access and resources to play against high school players, because now you're on that level, and we're talking anomalies, man. We're talking like 1 or 2 kids in an area like that that's going to have the exposure to people who can play faster, think quicker, get over sooner. And now you put yourself in that position to say, okay, a couple years from now, you will be ready, to look at the IUs and the other schools that might be recruiting.